The hydrogen-oxygen economy. It's a magical destination. Absolutely no toxic emissions, completely end the use of all fossil fuels, and stop global warming. How do we get there? It's pretty simple. Here's a 7-point plan that will take only 15 years to accomplish. Let's start with a Toyota Prius hybrid, but we'll need to make a few improvements. First, we'll convert it into a plug-in vehicle and recharge it off the grid, known as a PHEV. It will plug itself in automatically, whenever possible, at home, at work, at shopping centers. Next, we'll replace most of the aluminum and steel with carbon fiber, reducing the car weight from 3,000 pounds to only 1,200 pounds, something like this 1X, but with double glazed windows. That should increase our mileage from 44 miles per gallon to 120 miles per gallon. Third, we'll replace the 12-gallon gas tank with hydrogen and oxygen tanks. We'll keep the 75 horsepower IC engine and power it with the H2O2. Easily done. The exhaust, 100% pure water. Absolutely no noxious chemicals or pollutants. We can't do hydrogen only, since that would generate nitrous oxides, and not fuel cells, since they're too expensive. With the increased gas mileage, we should be able to keep the 500-mile driving range of the car, even though the energy density of the hydrogen and oxygen is only half that of gasoline. Fourth step, we'll install an electrolysis unit to generate hydrogen and oxygen on board, so that any time we're plugged into the grid, we can keep our fuel tanks filled. We'll almost never need to go to a gas station again. We will now export power to the electrical grid with our cars to supply our houses, our offices, our industrial plants. Anytime the electrical grid needs peak electricity or is shut down for an emergency, it will turn on the available PHEV cars, each of which is basically a 100-kilowatt power station, and generate power. Let's see, 250 million vehicles, 75% PHEVs, 75% available to power the grid. That's a 14 million megawatt zero-pollution power plant for free. When the peak demand passes, or the grid is back online, the grid turns the cars off. The energy then flows back into the cars, recharging the batteries and filling up the H2O2 tanks. We'll power our trucks, our planes, our trains, and our factories with hydrogen and oxygen. Maybe cryogenic tanks will be necessary in some cases. Occasionally, we may need to use biofuels to get the necessary fuel range. And occasionally, we may need to refuel our cars and trucks. We'll automate the process at our existing service stations. Drive into a fuel stall. Hydrogen, oxygen, and water hoses automatically attach themselves to the vehicle, fill up the tanks, detach, and ding the credit card. In and out in under 60 seconds. We'll get all the energy we need to power the grid from one of the 4 renewable energy systems I have proposed. HeliWinds, HeliTubes, concentrating solar collectors, and biomass power plants, all cheaper than coal, all generating power with absolutely no pollution. And perhaps, God willing, we can save our planet for our children and our grandchildren.